Good evening and welcome to African Voices platform with me, your host, Tchiyiwe Chihana. I'm really excited about tonight's episode because I'll be hosting a lady from Sheffield. Well, she's no longer part of Sheffield community, but she'll tell you all about it. She was one of the business leaders in the African community in Sheffield, but has since left the diaspora. I'd like to welcome Amie Bangura. Welcome to African Voices platform.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm really excited to have you back with us because I think the last time you were here, we were talking about your fashion show. You were talking about your shop here in Sheffield, in Page Hall specifically, and the business that you were doing locally. But you've since made a lot of, you've made some changes and you have left Sheffield. So within that context, could you introduce yourself to our audiences with your new identity? Who are you?
Well, this is Amie. Like you said, I'm Amie Bangura. But I think the Amie name is disappearing slowly. I've been the Mama Afro of Sheffield and UK in general. Mm-hmm. I've moved the Mama Afro to Africa. So now it's Mama Afro Sierra Leone Investment Limited. So, well, in life, one has to move on and do new things and face new challenges. So as we continue with the interview, you know who I am, and most of you know me anyway. So,
absolutely. So yeah. Well done. I mean, congratulations. I'm sure these are bold moves, leaving the comfort zone, I suppose, of where you were running this business and literally uprooting it back into Sierra Leone. That sounds like a bold move. But for starters, what is it you're now doing with Mama Afro?
Well, we've moved. Initially, my taken is to move Mama Afro to Sierra Leone to continue in the fashion industry. But I think the Almighty God has been pushing me to do more than the fashion show. So the moment I moved down to Sierra Leone to establish the business, the shop, I decided, I think something was just disturbing my mind, that I can do better than just a shop. Yeah. I can do better than just assisting the young girls and boys. I can extend this project to women, especially those in need. So I've decided to shift from fashion to agriculture.
Wow.
Which is like dream come true for me because I'm fulfilling my dream and my passion.
That's fantastic. So that's really absolutely empowering. I do a little bit of it in Zambia, but I don't think it's anything to the scale of what you're doing. I'm curious, what is it you're doing in agriculture and how easy was it for you to transition from the fashion industry into agriculture in Africa?
Like I was saying, it's like the Almighty God is pushing me to help. And I love helping people.
Right.
And in my country, for example, actually open shop, and then I noticed I can only help few people, which might be family members and few employees. But like I said, I have this mind to help, and I really want to help. So I decided to switch down to the agriculture level, and with having no ideas, to be honest. I have no idea about farming. So it's like people were thinking, okay, beautiful lady, what is she going to do in the farm? We all know the mentality about farming in Africa. Farming is for poor people. That's what people believe in. So I decided to tell, especially in my own country, I decided that I'm going to do the most sexy and funky farming and introduce more ladies to it. And help her because we can reach out to the grassroots, like we call them, the poor people in the villages. Because when I look at Sierra Leone, for example, food is a major problem, I'm sure, in Africa in general. And less people are producing food. Yeah. So I decided to take the challenge. To be honest, I didn't even know how to get the land. I was thinking every land is a farmland. It's only when I started a procedure, then I learned a lot, thanks to one patient person who really gave me the time to explain what it takes and how to go about it. Right. So the moment I'm doing rice farming in a massive production, to be honest, Stacey, I don't really know how I come about it, to be honest. But I've done it.
You've
I have done it. So I've done rice.
done it. That's very true.
Yeah, I've done rice.
Absolutely.
I'm doing some vegetables, and I'm currently doing the cashew nuts, which is like a huge project. So at the meantime, those are the stuff I'm doing at the moment. Mixed vegetables, rice in massive production, and the cashew that I'm going for.
It's really, really powerful stuff there. I want to go back a little bit to you're highlighting that a lot of people tend to assume that farming or agriculture itself is always at a subsistence level, is just for consumption at the local level. But actually, when you think about it, food is the one thing that is consistent. Food is the one thing that everybody demands. Farmers actually feed every person. Whatever you're going to drink or eat today is going to be a farmer. So I think we've probably undermined what farming and agriculture actually does for a country and the potential it has if you want to develop as a business, or in your case as a social entrepreneur, from what I'm gathering, if it's to empower the community. So when you talk about giving back, when you're doing agriculture and you're giving back and helping people, what role exactly are you doing? Is it employing women from the community to do the work, or is it to feed? Would you clarify that?
Yeah, well, at the moment, I think I'm dealing with all race. That's both men, women, and the youths.
Mm-hmm.
The women are my priority.
Mm-hmm.
And but at the initial stage, the men had to do the work.
Yeah.
But we should not forget here, African women are becoming something powerful.
They work. Women in Africa work hard. Good.
And I will tell you,
goodness me, yeah.
I've got less headache with the women because I'm dealing with 70 women in the team.
Wow.
Yes. We had an agreement that me and the women, our project would be, we'll grow something, vegetables, and then at the end of the production, they will have their share so they can put food on the table, because Africa has become a place wherein women work so hard. When there's no food in the house, it becomes a struggle for the women, and the kids suffer from it. Yeah. So, and one thing I believe, when you empower those women, you empower the nation.
You've empowered the community and the nation, absolutely.
And the nation.
Yeah.
Because men can easily say, for example, oh, I don't have today, but they still want to eat. It's left with the women to find the bread to put on the table. So once you empower them, you empower the whole community, the whole nation, the whole city, the whole town, because they're the one in charge of the husband, they're the one in charge of the kids, they're the one in charge of everything.
Absolutely.
When it's there,
yeah, go ahead. Now finish that sentence, then I'll pick up.
when it's there, they appreciate. When it's not there, they're hustlers. They go out and look for it. So we are doing the job together. I make them happy. They make me happy, because for me, it's like a dream come true. I'm reaching out to the group of people that I've wished for. A group of people that I know, if I empower 20, they will empower thousands.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
yeah,
I think I'm on the right track, and I'm happy.
I think you are on the right track. I think you really are on the right track. So I just came back from Zambia yesterday, and that's why I'm filming you from home, because I have to quarantine. And one of the things that I actually went to do was to just I'm in agriculture as well, partially, and we process cooking oil from local produce, but it's in the rural community. We're not in the city, so we produce cooking oil from the from sunflower that we source from the villages, and our mandate. We've decided that the mandate that we have in that community, in the rural community itself, is to at least source 75% of produce from women.
All right,
they grow.
Great job.
Yeah, so I'm impressed with what you're doing. So you're growing rice, and some of your women collaborators, as I'm understanding it, are women who are based here in Sheffield and in the UK.
Well, I've got two ladies.
People who you've known, you're collaborating with quite a few people from that.
Yeah, I've got two ladies that I'm working with. Of course, Alicia Nang has always been part of my show, has always been part of me. We're body to body.
All
because I
right.
love working with people who have the passion to work with others.
Mm-hmm.
So she's part of the project. And I've got Juliet Nelson, who lives in Liverpool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's also part of the project.
So these are women who are still in diaspora, but working collaboratively with somebody who has left the diaspora. And these collaborations, I think, are very empowering, very impactful. And people don't usually get to hear about these stories about how people here living outside of home can actually still work and be able to make a difference from at home in our communities, and vice versa, because it's not just them benefiting or the community at home benefiting, it's a mutual benefiting thing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, we had this mutual agreement. I took the risk to go back home. We all know it's a risk. It's not easy. People think you have to prepare everything before going back home. For me, no. Tick, tick, tick. God say move, I move my clock, and then I'm gone. Because I believe there's no place like home.
Right.
And we going back to give to our community makes a change. I'm not somebody who sits and complain because millions are complaining. My question to myself, what impact can I do in my community? What impact can I do to change people's life? So virtually, I'm also using upcountry in the north. I'm not in the capital city. Wow. So that really shocked people. Mama Afro from UK, and then not in Freetown, the capital city, but went down to the north.
Great stuff.
I am based in the north with those women. So I had to do 45 kilometers every day, 90 kilometers day to and front from the farm.
Great stuff. And you, I mean, when you speak of challenges, the other challenge is that you moved in the middle of a pandemic, literally in the heart of a pandemic. What was that like for you? Just saying, I'm going.
Well, Stacey, to be honest, I didn't look at all those things because life must goes on. When I was in Sheffield, I think the first pandemic, the first lockdown, I was one of those people who never sat down. I was doing intensive voluntary work in Sheffield. Right. I had a cooking project that I was doing for all people every week, 50 people, out of my own budget, out of my pockets. Kudos to few women who came on board later to assist. And I was doing the food bank with some other pastors. And so I look at it, if I can do it here, and things were going very slow, I think I can go back home and do something. It was challenging, but like I said, I don't look at the negativity. I look at whatever I made there, I should be able, because things become difficult when you say they're difficult.
Yeah.
Because the whole world is facing the pandemic, but the whole world cannot shut down at the same time. So I decided to go back. Everybody was like surprised, but I have to go back because something was just telling me I can go and help. And that's what I've done.
You could go and make.
So the challenges, they're there. They're meant to be there.
Okay, great. So I'm looking at a young girl, a young boy who is British born, of African heritage, and they don't get to hear these positive stories about going back home. I don't know why, actually, because we do know a lot of people do go back home and they set up and they do stuff, but we rarely get to hear these stories. And it doesn't necessarily mean that when you go, it means you've completely cut off. You still come back, you have a life in both places. What do you say to them? What are the opportunities that await for them, not just in Sierra Leone, but in Africa at large?
Yeah, well, I think Africa has got a lot of potentials. A lot. But until you go there, you won't know what is there in the package for you. And I always tell people life is full of risk. If you don't take the risk, then you don't win. You can't sit and wait for tomorrow because tomorrow might never comes. So there are a lot of stuff. Like some of us are making the sacrifice. I always tell people in my videos, I haven't launched much yet about a farm, begging people outside here. We can go home and make a difference. Actually, for the youth, could you imagine at this stage, you go out there, you start doing something, whether it's in the education sector, whether it's in agriculture sector, you can do a lot. The bushes are there. The bushes are there. And Most times when you start, you get people that comes around to admire what you're doing and they're willing to help.
Absolutely.
They're willing to help. But everything starts from somewhere. Start going back home once in a while for holiday, and then you can identify what you're going to do. But the opportunities are really there. I think the social media is taking all the positive aspects of Africa and turn it to negativity. So for the young lad, and that affects them so much, because if I keep reading the worst part of Africa, when will you develop your mind to say, okay, no, let me go and see for myself?
Absolutely.
You
I think
know?
I agree with you on that. We have a problem of stories about Africa not being told from the African perspective. Usually to be people from outside who write about Africa, about things they actually don't understand. Whereas people who understand them, we tell each other orally, we tell each other things orally. So we don't document. It means that that information gets lost because somebody else is writing it. But there's so many opportunities. I mean, Africa is a hive of opportunity for a lot of people, especially these young people, like you said. I wish I had that opportunity to just take advantage of Africa back then when I was younger. It's only now that I'm realizing, and as I grow up, I'm trying to do so many things too late, I feel like.
No, I don't think so. You can still win.
Can still win.
Yeah, you can still win.
Yeah. Let's go back to the, so you're saying you're doing rice, you're doing cashew nuts, you're doing vegetables. I'm thinking this is, the cashew nut is sounding like a very long-term project because cashews do tend to mature over a longer period of time. What's your long-term goal? It sounds like you've thought of things in a very concrete way. You know exactly what stages you're moving at. What are your plans?
Well, my plan is to build an eco-village. An eco-village system. I think that's one big problem we're facing. For example, I'll keep Sierra Leone as my example because that's what I know about Sierra Leone now. We, like before, in our own days of going to school, you at least go to the agriculture, you go to plant groundnuts, help your teacher to do stuff in their farms. Then you know the practical aspect of it. And these days of agriculture, the kids only do the theory aspect.
Yeah.
Ask them how to plant mango, they will tell you, I don't know. I just read how to do mangoes. And so I've thought about it, and the eco-village system is what I'm thinking, like creating a whole village in a few years' time to come, wherein you have your animals in somewhere. At least these kids can have the opportunity to say, okay, not only theory, can we go and see the practical aspects? How do they grow rice? How do they grow cashew nuts? How do they do tomatoes? How do they do cucumbers? It's not just what you read, because when you just read and you don't put it into practice, then it's like you're causing more harm to yourself than even understanding. So I think that's one thing that have also been a setback for Africa, because the kids are supposed to do practical because the lands are there. The lands are there. But they just see grass grow. They don't know how it is grown. You read in the book what somebody has written, and then how would we encourage them after university to go to the farm if you've not seen the practical aspects of it? I think that's one big advantage with Europe. Even though they don't have the land, but everything you study, the practical is very, very important for them.
It's crucial.
Yeah, you study biology, they must take you one day to go and see human, and at least you'll see every bit of what you're learning. So I don't know what went wrong in Africa, that most countries now, the kids do just practical, theory, no practical. So I've thought it wise that with an eco-village where you have the animal section, you have vegetable section, you've got rice, beautiful rice there, and then get some poultry. I think that can cover like 50% of their practical stuff. So I'm hoping and praying that we'll be able to get the resources, because it takes a lot of finance to get to that level, but it's still achievable. Like I said, I'm not the one that will say, oh, this is hard. Oh, no, it's million involved. You never know what tomorrow brings.
You just go for it.
Go for it.
What happens. Yeah. When it comes to the practical side of things, so there are different things. Many people don't know that in most African countries, the minute you're born, you've got access to traditional land because by virtue of being born in an African country. Whereas here in Europe and most other countries in the West, you have to buy land or inherit it if you're from a wealthy family. But automatically, if you're really somebody who follows your history, you understand that when you're born as an African, you're entitled to land wherever your heritage is from, whatever part of the country you come from. But that's not common knowledge. So a lot of us tend to buy land anyway, as opposed to just pursuing the traditional land that we've inherited from our ancestors. What path did you take? Did you have to buy this land, or have you inherited it, or has it been allocated to you by the government, or are you renting land?
Well, that's a good one. Initially, I know I am from the north. We are farming at the moment, but I'm farming beyond my hometown.
Okay.
So, like I said, initially I was thinking every bush you can just farm.
No.
Well, you won't know those land belongs to individuals or local chiefs or yes, until you take machetes to go and brush. Then somebody will find you, you're brushing, and then you're in trouble. So I had to ask for information from every corner and get advice from people. So the land that I have now, it was not easy, my sister. It was tough.
Tell me, I want to hear that story. I'm sure a lot of young people, even grown people here in diaspora, want to know how you did it because we all struggle with that.
It was really tough. It's like I had to go extra miles. I think the first time I approached somebody, there was a deputy guy who actually gave me advice, and he said, this is the way you go about it. And normally in the north, they don't sell land, they don't sell, they don't lease, they don't rent. Like you said, traditional lands, what they will do, if you go there, even if you're not the daughter of their soil, they will allow you because the bushes are there. They will allow you to work. You can work for so many years because that's the approach they wanted me to take. They will tell you the land is there, we're willing to give you, you just pay their respect to the local chiefs and their executives, and then just their family members with just a small package. And but on my own terms, because I was thinking of this long-term development with the eco-village system. What about if somebody, you just start developing this land and then somebody comes, it's my father's land, you have to get out. So I thought about it, and then I decided, okay, I have to inquire about leasehold because buying was not an option. They're not selling their lands to nobody. Even if you want to give them billions, they'll rather tell you let the bush be there because it's family property. So the leasehold, I think I'm one of the first lucky ones to even be able to lease a land for 50 years.
Look at you. Well done.
Yeah. So I managed to lease about 500 plus acres for 50 years.
How many acres? I want you to say that again because I'm impressed. Say it again.
About 500 acres. It's a whole village by itself. You know, you walk around the place. I've never been to some part of the land yet because it's still bushy and busy clearing. So I have to go for the leasehold because that was the best opportunity. At least 50 years, most people will have achieved and will have also achieved our goal, and whatever establishment we want will have been there. Then the people in question will have value, whatever, because they will have seen the benefits of having it there. So I actually went for leasehold, and it was not tough. The person who helped me to get this leasehold is just some young guy who somebody introduced the little write-up I did, showed him, and the next minute I got a call, my sister, I'm willing to help you. So that's how sweet Africa is.
It's amazing. There are people who help you. They'll tell you so there are systems in place to do these things, but we just don't have knowledge that these things exist, that we can actually use as processes. But 500 acres, sis, I'm coming. I'm coming.
More than that, so you should come. You should come. Maybe you can come with the idea of the sunflower. You know, we don't have it in Sierra Leone.
Maybe.
We don't do sunflower.
Maybe, you never know. Produce oil. So, I mean, we are laughing now, but truly speaking, agriculture does feed our continent. And apart from your charitable aims, this is where the money is. You know, it's the most sustainable thing, land itself. Last year, the African Union introduced the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, so we can actually trade with each other, which incurring massive costs, and it's very good. So clearly, you're well positioned for that sort of thing. And within this conversation, you spoke about Alicia Nang, another lady of African heritage, but she's Cameroonian, and you've already been collaborating across countries, if you will. That's really impressive. So what's the vision of that collaboration? Do you go to Cameroon next? I'm not sure in Congo recently.
Cameroon is our next target. Yeah. Once we've settled this, I think our next move will be Cameroon, because we want to help.
Yeah.
So we can't just keep the project in one place. So we're just praying for God's provision and God's help. And like you said, with the African Union on board now, with all this European funding, I think after the first 1 year, we'll go a long way. So our next mission is to establish something in Cameroon.
That would be great. That would.
And I believe we'll achieve it. And then go to Zambia.
And come to Zambia. I'll take you to Zambia, and we're going to collaborate and cross-reference. Absolutely.
Hello.
Yeah. And are you do you see, I mean, you were already doing business here. I came to your shop in Page Hall, and it wasn't just clothes. You had crafts, you had other things that were going on there. Do you see your produce being made available for export, for example, like Sierra Leone rice? Are you going to brand it for export? Well, what's the grand strategy?
That is our mission. That is our vision, our end product. As it is now, this year we've decided we're just going to sell seeds because it's our first year. And kudos to us, getting the land in April, and we're able to spread that amount of rice, of 70 bag of kg rice.
Wow.
Yes, clearing land and then preparing the land from April. I'm telling you, from April.
Wow.
Now. So we succeeded having the 70 bags on the ground. So we are working very hard, even though the human financial capital, we're 3 ladies. This is not something we've planned for years and say, let's do. Just the Mama Afro take action, and then I move with my action, and then, other people come in board, because I love working with people. So I share the ideas, we go for it. So our main purpose, like I said, the Eco Village, we should be able to produce enough rice for Sierra Leone, because Sierra Leone, we eat, most of our food is rice. I'm telling you, we eat rice in the morning for breakfast, we eat it for lunch, and we eat it for dinner.
Not cassava. I don't know why I had this idea you ate cassava a lot.
No, we eat cassava. We eat cassava.
Rice is the one.
We eat cassava. We eat sweet potatoes. Not to compare with rice.
Rice is the it.
If you give Sierra Leonean a potato and cassava, they will say they've not eaten anything.
It's rice.
It's rice.
It has to be rice.
Yes. So the country needs rice. They need massive rice production, because right now we are depending on thousands of dollars on imported rice. A small country of 7.5 million people, there is not enough rice. So we need to get rice from India and China, and the lands are there, but people are not growing anything.
So okay. So again, that's the thing with me. I think intra-Africa importation is good if we import, but when we start to talk about things like that we can grow on the continent, like rice or cassava, and we say, well, China has started mass producing for the African continent, I get concerned. I get concerned, because we can do it for ourselves across the continent. Maybe it was just difficult with this new free trade agreement. So hopefully you'll be part of that exporting and locally feeding machinery for the rice production.
Our target should be first local feeding, because it's not all about the money. Because if we say we're going to give back to our African community, it makes no sense for us to grow it and take it out of the country. So what help will have you given? You've not given anything. So for me, I believe we should produce and sell as much as until people say, okay, we've got enough rice in Africa, and we don't need a foreign rice. We don't need it. We can do our local stuff. I think that's one thing I admire about Nigeria now. From the information I gathered, since 2019, the government passed a law they should not use imported rice in Nigeria. So they have agriculture specialists who go around in the country to train farmers on a mass production scale. And Sierra Leone this year, that's what the approach government has taken also. So what the government has done, they've given opportunity to every youth farm in every chiefdom.
Good.
They gave them the opportunity to produce 100 acres of rice farm.
Great stuff.
Yes, so
and
every
500 of those are yours.
So could you imagine if this continue in the next coming 3-4 years? I'm sure Sierra Leone will stop importing rice, because every chiefdom has got, let's say, every district has got 20 chiefdoms, and then they're doing, you name it, 100 acres each. I'm telling you, there'll be more than enough for every growing season and to feed locally.
Great stuff. So that's value addition when you go beyond just the feeding locally. What's the vision with the cashew? Talk to me about the cashew.
The cashew, first of all, my main mission, one is business. Anyway, and luckily I've got like 4,000 sticks, which has already been supplied. I think when I do that's my big target to go and plant. They're already clearing land for that. So I've got the 4,000 seeds. The main purpose of the cashew nut, first of all, is for deforestation, because where my farm is used to be a very thick forest when they harvest timber. So they've harvested so much timber in Sierra Leone than you can imagine, especially in the north.
Yeah.
So some of us have to try and start teaching people that it's not just harvesting the trees.
You plant back,
you plant back.
Yeah, you plant back.
You plant back. And the good thing, the seeds they have now is not a long duration like you think. It's like 2.5 years, you start harvesting it.
Okay.
Yeah, before it was like 5 years.
2.5 years. I've not heard of that variety. The one I'm
they have it.
6 years.
It comes from Ghana. It comes from Ghana.
Right, I didn't know
so
that.
It's a special one. Luckily, I'm lucky to have 4,000 seeds. So hopefully all of them will come out nicely. It's just to help with the deforestation, and then later we can use the cashew to process. You know how expensive cashew nuts are here. And in my country, it's only now people are catching the business part of it.
Yeah.
Because when we're little, we used to eat the cashew and throw the nuts. Because we never knew the value of the nuts.
Until
I came abroad, and then you see a cashew nut, small packet for 3 pounds, 4 pounds. So, but now people have started selling it in Sierra Leone, for example. They package it and then sell it in the streets. So, and we all know the food value in cashew.
Yeah, yeah.
So we're expecting in 2-3 years, we should be able to import it and also sell locally.
Okay, yeah, so that's cross-border trade again there, where Africa is working with each other. Ghanaian plants coming into Sierra Leone, reforestation. It's already a big ecosystem of both business and regeneration, I think. Let me come back to something about you personally. So you are doing agriculture, busy on the farmlands. I'm assuming you're digging with the people. You're not just
right? Even dancing with them.
You dance with, that's really good. And so you're coming here on African Voices platform, and that fashionable woman who used to run a fashion show in Sheffield has just appeared here. What's your vision? Are you going to be doing more fashion stuff in Sierra Leone, or what?
Well, I think they're still expecting me. Like now, they've invited me to MC the Sierra Leone Kids Got Talent.
Okay.
But my hands are so full. I don't even know what I'm going to tell the lady, and because that will be my harvest season. I'll be quite busy. People still want me in that angle, but like, okay, I'm somebody who can do 2-3 things at the same time. But the fashion thing also needs time. It needs your energy. It needs everything. And the other part of it is the agriculture side. They need you. Because if you're not there, things might go wrong.
They go slower.
Slower. Like now, I've been out for 4 weeks. I've been in Holland 2 weeks because my daughter is there. I've come to UK another 2 weeks. And there are a lot of bits and pieces. What I was expecting them to do now is very slow because I'm not there. But luckily, I'm leaving on Friday. So immediately I get there, boom, I start my job.
Yeah.
So the fashion thing, I can still, all the ladies were complaining because I had a meeting with Alicia when it was on Sunday. went for dinner, and then
Oh.
other ladies were there. Where did you go to? Why did you disappear? Sheffield is very quiet. I said, okay, let me go and finish what I'm doing. We might think of something.
Yeah.
You know, but I think my encouraging words to people, I think more women should step up.
Great. Yeah.
Because one or two person cannot just do the job. It's massive out there. People think, yeah, it's hard. People have been asking me all sort of questions. How are you adjusting? How easy? Oh, you even look beautiful, even when you're in Africa. I said, but what do you think? Look
What
at
do
my
you
sister.
think? You
Look
think
at
we just
you
live
there
on the
shining, and
street?
you just came yesterday.
We're not living
It's
on the
like,
streets when we're in Africa. Come on. That's a
you get all the
stereotype.
strange questions and from
It's
our African
weird.
people.
Yeah,
So I
that's
think it's time
weird.
for us to
Mhm.
start thinking the other way around about Africa and
Yeah.
forget about this too much thing of, okay, relatives this, relatives that, and let's put Africa first.
Let's talk about Africa as we've experienced it. We know better than what other people say about it. I think that's
Yeah.
the problem. We let other people's ideas of what Africa is supersede what we actually know. We know that when we're in Africa, there's laughter, there's happiness, there's so much
Yeah.
going on. And yet when we're here in diaspora, it's almost like we fall into this other narrative about it being this horrible place that we don't even relate to, but we just go like, yeah, this is what's been said and written about it. I mean, I'm really excited about, especially for the South Yorkshire community. I'm really excited about how many women in business I'm coming across, especially African diaspora women. As well as actually African diaspora men. I know there's in South Yorkshire, there's the farming community. There's a farmer who is supplying, an African farmer who is supplying African foods. He's growing them right there in Chesterfield.
All right.
Yeah, it's really
I would love to meet the person.
you should do. You should do. We had him
Yeah.
on the show, so I think one of the videos yeah, I'll pass you on the details. But yeah, he was on the show. We wanted to talk about the produce. Like when you think of commercial farming or just large scale farming here in the UK, you tend to think of white bodies. You don't think about Black Africans, and if you're African, you think it's white Africans that are farming here. But no, this is a Black African person.
Oh.
It's those examples that I think we should have a lot more of. Of course, there's yourself, there's Alicia Nang, there's Howard Talbot of Fuller Flavor.
Yeah.
There's so many
people are doing stuff. Yeah. People are doing stuff. Yeah.
And we should be telling those stories and seeing more people like you. So thank you. Thank you so much for being one of those people that we can write about and say, actually, these are African women who are doing it.
Yes, we can do it together.
Absolutely. And thanks so much for joining me on African Voices platform tonight.
Yeah. So well done. And thank you for your time. And I want to say special thanks to all those who have been supporting Mama Afro.